still...
In time for what?
Well, he's going to have Keith Sherwood up there. We'll have it aired in time for when you have him there.
Right.
So let's just talk about that. And I'll say he's been at the Feng Shui Center, and you know many people have come down to hear him. And
Is there a script?
a script for this? No, you'll be surprised once we get started. You just loosen up.
You're the camera there.
And tonight we have a wonderful audience out there. So we have a live audience in our studio tonight, which is wonderful. It's good to have everybody here. Can we ask questions to the audience there? I mean, can we ask for any questions from the audience, like when Wynn's talking and stuff?
Yeah, he's trying to get tracking back there.
Mm-hmm.
I can hook up a mic real quick.
I was thinking that'd be fun, because then we can get some other people's ideas. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just do it for about a 5 or 10 minute open for questions from our live audience, and that we'd like to invite people to come down.
Watch it, Liz. Just watch it.
On Sunday nights.
Excuse me,
Okay.
Mr. Weiss, didn't I see you on America's Most
You
Wanted?
asked me questions. Can you repeat the question?
You bet.
You just,
That's
ask
what
the
we can
audience
do,
for
yeah.
questions, repeat the questions over the mic, and then we'll roll.
That's what we'll do. So will you give me a chance to repeat the question before you answer it? Okay, from the audience. That'll be fun, because we haven't done that before. So that'll be a new thing we can put.
Okay.
Okay,
And we'll take a break in about probably, sometimes it just goes real smoothly for about 30, 40 minutes before we take a break.
We'll just take,
Whatever works.
we'll just take a natural break.
Just when it comes,
whenever
yeah.
seems natural.
Yeah, whenever it comes.
That's too easy.
And David, I was just going to warn you, I've got my Feng Shui tip of the week.
You
I
me
want to do a little
close up
thing on
that?
clutter, and I wondered if you could do a close-up on this one. It's kind of
Okay,
a small
now-
book, but I'll hold it still.
Uh,
Maybe you don't even need that much of a close-up, because it shows up right there. There you go. I'll just try to hold it still. Okay. Oh, my hair's always that way, isn't it? It's my fake halo.
Just don't worry, one day we're just going to come, we'll just hand you a black veil. A wimple, that's it, a wimple.
This hair, in hopes, this hair gives me a halo, so that's what it's about, you guys. Because you all know the real me.
back in town, we're ready to roll.
Okay. I'll quit goofing off now.
I'm on you are.
Hi, I'm Johnna Koontz, and I'd like to welcome you tonight to our show, Voices on the Wind. And tonight we have some special guests, and actually one of them is Wind, so Wind, I was going to talk to you about that. But this is Wind Hughes that we're going to have tonight on our show, and Paul Weiss. It's great to have both of you here tonight.
Thanks.
But first, I'm just going to tell you the Feng Shui tip of the week that we always do here. And tonight's going to be the start of an 8-piece series that I'm going to do. So I want to be able to tell everybody that on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock, be sure and tune in. We have a lot of fun here on the show, and there's a great crew down here at MCAT that helps out with this show. David and Frank are our producers, and we want to thank them. Anyway, tonight I'd like to talk a little bit. I'd like to start the series on clutter. There's this little book. It's not very expensive, but it's a wonderful book, and it's so popular out there. I can't even keep it on the shelves at the Feng Shui Center. And Karen Kingston is the author, and she's become known as the queen of clutter clearing, which is such an important thing when it comes to Feng Shui. In fact, the reason I'm starting here with this session is it really is the first place that you want to start when you want to start working with Feng Shui. And many of you in the audience might not even know what Feng Shui is. It's an ancient Chinese wisdom. It started probably 6,000 years ago, but the writings are, they've found writings from over 3,000 years ago. But it's a science and an art at the same time. The study of Feng Shui is a science, and the application of Feng Shui is an art. In your homes, one good place to start is going through and getting rid of all the clutter. Now let's see, what would the definition of clutter be? Well, there's probably about 3 things. Clutter would be something that you know that you don't love. Like, you know, you love your family, you can keep your family, that's not clutter. But anything that you don't love, and anything that's not moving you forward in your life can be considered clutter. Another thing that could be considered clutter is anything that's broken, so that you can't use it, it needs to be fixed. So you really should get it fixed or throw it away. Another thing would be old projects that you've started and never finished. We've all got a lot of those that are cluttering up the house. And then basically we've just got a lot of things that pile up, mail, paperwork, things that we don't need anymore that we really need to move on. A lot of people that have gone through divorces, they need to get rid of some of their things that are holding them back. If you've been divorced, a good thing to do would be to get rid of the bed that you shared. You really need to go out and get a new bed, because the energy is stuck in that bed, and there's going to be a lot of things there that will stay and keep you with that past, those past memories that are holding you back. So those are a few tips, and we're going to do some more tips on clutter. But a lot of people just keep things because they think they're going to be using them in the future. Well, it's not really, that's not a good thing, because it means you're not trusting in your future. And if you want to open up to some of the miracles that Feng Shui can accomplish for you, as you learn more about Feng Shui and apply it in your home, you really need to get rid of the clutter. Okay, that's my biggest tip of the week. And it's springtime, which is a perfect time to go through the house, clean drawers, air out the house, open up all the windows, bring in the fresh qi, and start just going through your clutter. Do it one room at a time if you have to, because I know it's an overwhelming thing. Karen Kingston in her book says that where clutter accumulates, energy stagnates. And she gives workshops on clutter, and she says most of the people that she knows has a lot of clutter, because they come up to her and they say, I don't have the energy to get rid of my clutter. And so she says, I rest my case. If you get rid of your clutter, you'll get more energy. So there's many good reasons to work on that clutter. All right, I'm real excited about the guests that I have tonight on the show. So let's start by asking Paul a few questions, because Paul, he runs the Star Haven up in Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Sleeping Child Road, 1639 Sleeping Child Road. And you've had it for quite a few years, Paul. You've had a lot of fun things up there. I've come up there to a couple of workshops and things. And I'd like for you to tell us about some upcoming things, and tell us about how we're lucky enough to have wind here tonight.
Oh, I'd be pleased to. This season is really our first coming out of the closet season, and we're really excited about having a number of folks. We have Keith Sherwood coming in the first part of May. We have Chuck Pyle, who is known as the Zen Cowboy. He does folk artist type music. He's excellent, very well known in the Unity Church collective. We have the Tree of Life conference coming up, which is based off the 7 stuff that Gary Hardin and Joe Crane started. That's become a real popular thing. We're pretty amazed at the popularity of what we created there.
You've had a couple gatherings recently, or at least one gathering recently that has to do with that, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done one recently, and Kristen, my wife, and Cohort in Crime in Star Haven just did one last weekend. We're very entertained with how that went. That was excellent. Great food and great people always in a gathering.
Yeah.
Then we have our summer solstice event. We're really wanting to create a celebration for summer solstice, and how I was approaching it was I was like, oh, I don't want to do anything at the end of June. It's my birthday, and let's just blow it off and take a day off. Well, come to find out there's a full solar eclipse on the summer solstice this year, and I'm like, okay, that's a sign to go ahead and do something. So we're going to make a celebration out of it and make it an annual event where we can just bring some bands together and folks together, everybody who might want to come out that's in the Bitterroot area, who's a massage therapist or a natural healer of any type, to come and just participate and show people what they do. And then we also have the Drum Brothers this year, and Linda is going to be playing for us this year.
So you'll be back for that.
Yes, absolutely.
What day when's your birthday, Paul? Is it going to fall on the same day?
No, my birthday's June 24th, and the solstice is the 21st.
Oh, it'll be fun. You can start the celebration early and just keep going. That's what I like to do with my birthday.
That's wise. I think I'll heed those words.
You better. So what will you be doing at that summer solstice celebration, Wynn?
Well, we're going to be doing some music, intertwining some ancient chants and some drumming, some tribal rhythms with some modern technology.
Well,
So it's bringing the past into the present, and I'll be not alone. There'll be Michael Abrams with me, who does the keyboards, and there'll be Les Kahn who'll be playing guitar. So we're called Tribal Reunion.
that sounds really fun, you guys. I want to be there. I didn't even actually get to introduce Wynn very well. She's the co-author of an award-winning book called The Daughters of the Moon, Sisters of the Sun. And you've got a new book out called Visions, Seeing with the Inner Eye. How long has that been out?
That's not out yet.
Oh,
That's
it's
still
going to be
happening.
coming out pretty soon, huh? Well, she has studied over 23 years, and she has a wide range of things that she does. They're earth-based teachings, transcendent and Native American traditions. She is minister priestess, it says here, psychotherapist, Reiki master, massage therapist, and a teacher. So you travel around sharing all these teachings and gifts with people.
I travel around, and we just did a wonderful workshop this weekend at Starhaven, which is why I'm here.
Can you tell us a little bit about that workshop
can.
and what you did there?
It was a wonderful place to be. Just the energy at Starhaven is great.
Thank you.
What
Did you
they're
have a
doing
good
there is
turnout?
wonderful.
Yes, we did.
It was great. And this one was called Vision, Manifestation, and Soul Purpose. And what we're looking at basically is how do we move and manifest in life, and not just manifesting material things or things in our life, but how do we manifest our soul's purpose? And looking at aligning with natural law, aligning with the law of the spirit realm, and what happens when we do that, and doing the things in life that help us to do that, ritual, ceremony, trance-inducing drumming, looking at the medicine wheel and how we move through the cycles of nature and the cycles of lives in our daily cycle, in our monthly cycles, and in our cycles of life. So looking at the directions and what each of those directions means, looking at the elements, earth, water, fire, and air, looking at the moon phases, looking at everything that's a reflection of spirit as it manifests through nature in the physical realm, and helping individuals align with all of those elements, learning how to use vision, learning how to work with vision to bring manifestation into life, and ultimately that's what we're here to do, is to align with spirit and natural law, and to do that, work together in doing that.
Definitely, it fits in so well with Feng Shui. Feng Shui is the Chinese culture, study of that kind of, and so you do. Would it be considered the traditional American, Native American customs of? Is that pretty much where you have the following?
I'm one of those people that has a hard time with labels.
Oh, well, I don't really I think it's all part of, I'm glad you said that, really, because I think, even though a lot of times it's in books, labels and things like that, we all know that it's all part of the same study. It's just that people have picked up different things that they've learned, and they've put it into systems, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, and that's I agree completely with what you're saying, and that's one of the things I do. I draw from Native American traditions, Celtic traditions, pagan
All
traditions,
different traditions.
European traditions, and just what you said. The reality is these truths exist in the collective realm.
Everywhere.
They exist in the symbolic level, and it may be that the Native Americans, shamans, and medicine people in their visions perceived these truths and brought them back to the people. And the Celts, shamans and medicine people and priests, perceived these through vision and brought them back to the people. And every people has their visionaries that bring these truths. But the elements of frequency, of sound, of color, of vision, the elements and cycles of nature exist for all of us in this physical plane and in the collective dimension. And so we're looking at that truth. And I do teach how it manifests through particular traditions, but it's definitely not limited to that. So I don't like to label it and say it's a Native American tradition or it's a Celtic tradition. It's a collective truth that's accessible to all of us right now, right this second.
It's true. When you think about it, we all came from the same place anyway, if you go back far enough. Right? And I like to apply all different cultures to what I learned too. I'm just continually learning about it, and it's so fun to have people on the show because I learn from people that we have on the show. But I am interested more in learning about Native American customs because I haven't gone there as much. In the Feng Shui Center, we get a wide variety of all different kinds of people that come in, and so I'm lucky enough to get to learn from a lot of my customers and things there. And it just seems like right now there's such wonderful material to pick up and read, but it is exciting. I'd like to know more about what you do. Like, and when you see somebody, do you do any private sessions? People come in and
I did private sessions for about 23 years.
oh, you did. So
And
this
I
is something new then.
well, I've been traveling doing this too, and I've stopped doing individual sessions on an ongoing basis, but I do see individuals, and sometimes we work with sound, sometimes we work with ceremony and ritual, sometimes we do just spiritual counseling. So it's a combination of things, whatever is needed to help that individual come to balance and to manifest, in our lives. And one of the most important pieces for me is really accepting that we are creator source. And I think lots of people will work with vision and everyone wants to learn how to do vision and manifestation. They all want this, that, or the other thing. But to truly accept our sovereign divine nature, to truly accept that we are creator source, there is no separation, and that comes from within us, is easy to intellectually say, but to really embrace that and then look at what does that mean in our lives is a whole nother level for people that often they get caught there. I can manifest, but
It's true. I was just reading something today because on Sunday it's kind of my lazy day to stay in my jammies and read, So today you made me think of something that I was reading because Lillian Hughes, she's this famous gal that writes books about Feng Shui, and this chapter happened to be about, I've read a lot of different chapters about abundance and creating abundance for yourself, and she was saying how first we need to all be clear because the intention is so important, like what you're talking about, to go beyond that step of believing and knowing that we can create. I mean, that trusting is the big thing. And so she was, emphasizing again how important that is and how many of us get stuck in that like desperate and nervous sense of it, like, why can't I be successful? Why haven't I been able to be successful when I keep asking for it, and I keep trying to manifest it. But she says often your anxiety about the whole thing can create a fear that totally will be saying the wrong thing. So as we try to create our manifestations, do you find this? So you have to help people probably through blocks and issues and things.
That's one of the things we did this weekend.
Yeah.
Is identifying the patterns and the blocks, and we do an exercise on what are your belief systems about this. And to also, I think that so many of us are looking at working in our lives is how do you balance and integrate the personal will from the higher will? Now, this is what I want. I want a Harley. This is what I want. I want a bike.
Right.
I want this, or I believe I need that. And when we do manifestation work, I always put in drawing from various pagan traditions, equal to or better, or for the good of all and according to free will.
Right.
And trusting that in my limited experience in this human embodiment, I imagine that I know what I need and want, but it isn't necessarily what might ultimately serve my highest good. And so I release that and surrender that and trust that the highest good will come and it will be equal to or better than, but it may not be exactly as I imagined.
And sometimes even may be very different
Yeah,
than
and
what
that's
we
exciting.
thought of.
Whatever comes, it's going to be good.
I know, and that's a good place to be too, where you could trust and know that as you go on, each day brings something exciting to us, I think. And if you can accept that the day is open to bring whatever it's going to bring to us today, and be happy about that. You got me all excited about these things I've been reading because it fits in so well with what we're talking about. How do you feel about this? I was going to say we've changed the subject a little bit, but that we are all created in the let's say the Creator's mind. I've read that someplace before, and it really put me in a different place. But I understand now what it's saying, and that we all exist, and we all have Creator inside of us too. We're all part of Creator. but also that we're in the mind of the Creator, that we were created in the mind of the Creator. That one threw me a little bit, but then once I got a little bit used to it, it made more sense to me.
It reminds me of something that was given to me the other day in vision, and it was the sentence, a cell of thought in the body of creation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was working with creation and how we create, how we manifest, and the absolute thought, mind of Creator,
Right.
which really isn't mind, small m, you know, it's
Mhm.
mind, large m.
Right.
But that, you know, there's that instantaneous manifestation in creation. It comes from mind and Creator mind, and we are
Mm-hmm.
the same source. So it's really one source, one mind.
And that life exists in everything, and that we're all just, it's a vibration, difference in vibration, which creates everything that we see that looks like matter, right?
Mhm.
So it is hard to get beyond that, like for people, I think, to get beyond and to trust of what they actually can create. That is a big step right there. So that's what you work on helping people do, is kind of crossing over that, you know, sometimes fear-based step, sometimes just not knowing or trusting enough. What are some of the actual physical things that people can do? Like, I know in Feng Shui a few of the things, you know, we do, but I'd like to hear some of your ideas about things that you can do to open that trust a little bit.
Well, I keep thinking of the weekend, you know, that we just did.
Yeah,
And
tell us a little bit about that, because I wish I could have come. But
I wish you could have come, too.
I know.
We did a lot of work. I work with the medicine wheel, and not just the Native American wheel, but
Yeah.
the Celtic wheel, aligning
Mhm.
with the moon, phases of the sun, the cycles of our lives as women, maiden in the east, mother in the south, queen goddess in the west, and crone in the north. And for men, there's a similar phase as well. You know, page, father, king, and wise man. And looking in nature and looking in the wheel at those things that teach us how to align with Creator Source. And many times people will work with the wheel and they use it in ceremony and use it in ritual. But for me, it's actually aligning with those elements. So if you're working with, let's say you're wanting to honor, create, pray for, about new beginnings, we would be working then with the energy of the east,
In the
which
spring.
is the spring.
Yes.
And seeds and all of the fertility and potential.
Sunrise.
All of, yeah,
New
sunrise,
beginnings,
all
yeah.
of that. And hopefully we could do that in the spring. But if we can't do it in the spring, maybe we're in the winter and we're starting a new aspect of life or a new aspect of our being, then we bring in the elements of the spring. You know, we might bring in the seeds, we might bring in those things that have the frequency of the spring, because what we're trying to do is align with that frequency. It's an energetic thing. We're magnetizing that to us.
Right, and it's important to have, I think, all those elements around you too, because they're so detrimental to our energy, just to have a nice variety of the elements. And then in that, well, I hate to say, you know, in that system, but I was going to say, is there anything in there, like in Feng Shui, they talk about each one of us would predominantly be like an element. Like I happen to be more like the wood element. And do you do something like that where
Yeah, in different traditions, in some Native American traditions, you would be an east or a west or a south. Or there's a great book called Medicine Wheel by Sun Bear, and he has a Native American astrological chart where you can go in and look up your elements through the medicine wheel and see what you are and who you are. But working with that too, and sometimes people just have an affinity for that, you know, they're earth, water, fire, and air. So, you know, the east would be earth, the west is water, you know, it's fire and air. You know, each direction is the different element. So you are working elementally in the same way you would in some Asian systems of healing.
Right, and don't you think that kind of just helps us to remember and remind us that we all really are pretty complex. I mean, everything is real complex, but we have all those elements within us, and it kind of reminds us that there's very important steps in our life, and you know, not just one thing to focus on, but many different things to focus on to make our lives abundant and full. And when we ask for, when we try to manifest, I suppose it's probably important in your teachings, do you teach it's real important to be clear on what it is you want?
Absolutely. And again, that's going back to Creator Source. It's an absolutely, in a sense, empty space where intention exists in its pure state. It's uncluttered by fears of the ego or desires of the personality or that clutter, internal clutter.
Internal clutter,
Yeah,
we
whether
have
it's, you know, internal thoughts and emotional clutter, mental clutter. It's an intention, pure intention of manifestation. And when that intention is absolutely clear, you know, that's when the energy can move through it and it gets a clear projection without all the clutter in the way.
And focus is
Yeah.
I just got the feeling from you that, you know,
Yeah.
focus is
Yeah, it's
really
like-
important. Yeah. Because it seems like, I mean, we've been taught from when we were little that you write your goals down and what you focus on is something that you could strive for, something that's going to come a little bit easier to you. So I know that that's all part of it, too. It's a big part of it, where our mind,
Yeah.
you know, plays and dances with all of that.
And one of the things we look at very clearly is in manifesting, you know, and the attention, you know, for the good of all, for the good of all. And it's necessary to have a quiet mind and a quiet heart so that those move out of the way because they're clutter. They are clutter. They're internal dialogue, internal clutter that we need to expand beyond in order to have that clear intention and that pureness of creator power, creator source. So there's a lot of work with quieting the mind and not stopping thought. I really like to emphasize that there's a misinterpretation in Western thought. We often teach meditation or prayer work and say, stop the thoughts. And you know, people will say, God, I tried forever. Forget it. And so I say, forget it. You know, thoughts, it's like the heartbeat. Thoughts will never stop. It's a matter of expanding beyond, of moving the identification and relationship from thoughts to another place. So the thoughts go on without us. That train keeps it going all night long. And we're just not getting on it. So it's noisy over here, but that's not where we're living in that moment. We're living in a quiet place, and that place is creator source. And it's from that place that we create, not really the thought, not really the emotion or the desire. Those sort of imprint an image. But so we put the image in place. It's like putting the film in a camera. We put the image in place so we know what it is we're attempting to create, and then we let it go. And then we go to that aspect of source, and that is the power, in a sense, that moves through the image and brings it to us.
You excite me when you talk that way, because you know, I love it. Paul, we're not going to leave you out, because we're going to get you in on this, too.
I'm totally enjoying this.
It's a great manifester.
It's like everything I do to keep my mouth shut.
I know. I've gotten to spend some time with Paul up there at Star Haven. He and his wife run a wonderful place up there, and the workshops that you do up there are always so beneficial to people, you know, and I just totally support Star Haven. So
Thank you.
That's one of the reasons I wanted to have you here for sure. And you were excited when you said, oh gosh, what was it? Did I lose my thought?
Was that what I
said? I probably did lose it. But I know the purity of the intention. You just made me think of that, because you know that's all part of it. I think when you said to reach for the power and what the creator, the source we have within us, you get there, I think, by that quiet, kind of a quiet meditative state. But like you said, we're confused sometimes about what meditation's for and how to go about doing it. But getting there and realizing how almost, I think, like that intent needs to be, like you said, for the good of all and not so greedy. Some of us get wrapped up in what we want. You know, I want this, and the greed kind of comes in. And I don't think that's what it's all about. Don't you think that people are realizing now how important it is for each and every one of us to take an effort to help save this earth and do everything we can about the earth? And I know you probably have a lot to say about that. I'd love for you to go on about that.
I got a lot to say about a lot of stuff.
But I know you've got a lot of earth-based systems that you use. And
Well, that reminded me, though, of another whole thing, the aspect of soul purpose. And, you know, often we think of manifestation and we think of things, because we're such a thing-oriented, you know, consumer-oriented culture. What can I have? What can I
material
get?
things. Yeah, we have gone
I
that
want
direction.
this. How can I create it? And that's not what I'm talking about. But an important aspect is soul purpose. You know, each one of us comes in here with a mission. I call it a mission. I'm on a mission.
And kind of a gift sometimes.
Absolutely,
Sometimes
that's
you've
our
been given
gift.
these natural gifts.
Yeah, and what is that intention? What is that purpose here? And I always come back to energy and frequency. When we discover what that is, and there's ways that I teach to help find that, we are in a line then with the intention of Creator Source. So we are in alignment with the intent and purpose of our life. So we begin to harmonize with the frequency of Creator Source. And then when we begin to do this manifestation work, we do things through ritual, through ceremony, through aligning with the elements. It's all about aligning frequency to go back to original intent, which is the most original intent is, what are we doing here? You know, what is our life intent? What is our life purpose and mission? So that's a very important piece to me. And it's not, you know, I want a Harley, yeah, I do, but that's not what this is about. It's my mission here, my intent here, your mission here, and walking true to that, discovering what it is, walking in alignment with that. And then when you walk in alignment with that, a lot of other things come into place. Spirit supports itself. Spirit is creating itself and returning back to itself, and you can't stop that.
Right.
So when you move in alignment with natural law and with soul's purpose, you are truly a very powerful being, embodied.
And if you stay on track and stay on path, it's easier, but we're often, you know, we've got busy days, things going on with the kids, you know, things going on at work, things that often pull us away from that feeling. I know there's a lot of people that have to end up taking jobs that don't have a lot to do sometimes with their soul intent. So it does get frustrating sometimes, it does get confusing. But I totally agree with what you're saying, that it's so important to have that time where you can open up to what it is that you're here for, what your purpose is. And like in Feng Shui, the north is associated with that, career and soul purpose. And so we do actually a little kind of a something that you can put in the north of your home or the north of a room in your home, so that it will help you to connect and remember that even. Because it does help when you see something, you know, that is material but sitting there that will remind you, blues and blacks and things like that. Like I've got this gazing blue ball that sits in my north window, and that always reminds me of, am I on track with my Feng Shui and my teachings and things like that.
And that's a great word, reminder. I think that's another very misunderstood thing. People will see deities or icons or you know, spiritual stuff around, and you know, why are you praying to that statue, or why are you having these things? And they're reminders.
It's just a reminder.
It's an alignment. You see it and you remember. You see it and you remember. And it's just like trying to meditate. You get lost in the thought, you come back to the breath, or come back to whatever it is you're focusing within on, and those things remind us.
Yeah, there are many things we can do to just help get us back on track or to help keep us there. And then another thing I happened to be reading today was about the natural laws of the universe, and how, you know, when you said we all are powerful beings, and you know, like we've got the crystals supporting us, and we've got the plants in the world supporting us and everything, but humans really are quite interesting and complex. But we have this reason that we can learn and learn how to use those universal laws, not so much to manipulate them and use them our advantage that way, but just to learn from them, and actually they help us in that ladder towards our path.
Absolutely, and you know, I call it natural law or universal law, and you know, it's walking in alignment with spirit, basically. You know, it's all of those things that are in the unfolding of spirit and are natural to the nature of spirit, and those are guiding principles that exist. And I think it's very difficult because often we're torn between what we know and what we want. And when you walk in alignment with natural law, there's a place inside you that knows when you are off center. And there's often an internal conflict between what the ego and the personality and the desire wants and wishes, and what we absolutely feel in every cell of our being to be true.
Yeah, that's so true. That's a good way of saying it. You're good with words.
Thank you.
Anybody tell you that before?
I like to blab.
Yeah. You're good with words. This might be a fun place. You know, tonight we have our first live audience, and we're going to be doing this every Sunday night, having a live audience. But I think this might be a fun place, if we could, to get a few questions from the audience for either Wind or Paul. And we should pick on Paul a little bit, you know. He knows about all of this. He's just been keeping kind of quiet, I think, letting us go
Fun to
on.
pick on.
Yeah, and I just don't want to steal the show, you know. This is.
He's been letting us women go on, I know. But how about that? Anybody from the audience want to ask a specific question? We don't get to have Wynn here very often. In fact, where are you from, Wynn?
I'm from Taos, New Mexico.
She's from Taos, New Mexico, all the way up from there. So it's really nice to have her here tonight.
How long will
Thanks.
she be in this area?
Yeah, how long will you be here?
We're leaving Tuesday.
Oh, already
And then,
Tuesday.
but we'll be back in June, and hopefully, again, we're already talking about some events for the coming year. And you can all come down to Taos, too, and we travel
Yeah.
the country doing events, and you can check my website to look for the schedule and find out where I am.
Well, she has several special events coming up here, and there's one you wanted to mention specifically for the deaf and hearing impaired. You've got a Spirit Quest retreat. I think that sounds so, you know, wonderful to have something like that in the first place. And we're going to have, on a break a little bit later, we're going to have Rick be able to sign for those of you out there that are deaf or some of the hearing impaired, and about that. So we'll talk about that later. But how about any other questions out there tonight?
Yes, can you tell us about the book that you're coming out with, the new one?
Sure.
She asked, she asked about the book, your brand new book. Okay,
Yeah.
just in case you couldn't hear. We haven't
Okay.
quite got that down yet.
The book that I'm just finishing right now is called Visions, Seeing with the Inner Eye. And it's actually the book I wanted to write when I was writing Daughters of the Moon, Sisters of the Sun, but I felt, when I was writing the first one, I felt this real urgent sense to do something for the young people, to pass some of this over. You know, times are going faster.
Oh.
We really need our young people need our help.
We're getting more and more young people, you know, coming in the shop,
I bet
looking
you
for
are.
things and asking questions. I love it. I mean,
They're waking up. They need us.
Yeah.
So I felt the sense of, okay, put this original intent aside and
Uh-huh.
do this one for the young folks. But now I'm doing the book that I wanted to do then. And this is a book of about 25 visions. Since I'm a child, I was a very strange child, and I've been blessed with the gift of visions and various manifestations all my life. And these are about 25 visions, and what they read like short stories, you know, what actually occurred, who actually appeared, where did I go, and what the teachings were, you know, what happened. So each one is a particular teaching and associated with a vision.
real things that happened with you.
Yeah, real things, whether it was a group of beings that appeared in the room and taught me, whatever they taught me. One of them is about 3 individual appearances of Christ when I was very, very young. They go from something like that to a beautiful translucent cobra that appeared next to my bed one night and was a wonderful teacher.
Can I ask, this is the year of the snake, you know, by the way, so I was going to say, would you mind letting us know a little bit about what came to you from that vision?
Well, there's a consistent thread through all of them, because when you see, you see. You know, what there is to see, there is to see. And but this particular one was very much about universal connectedness and heart. So it was a very basic teaching in the sense that it similar to the Christ experience, blew open my heart and gave me the vision of the interconnectedness of all things and that the truth of all things exists on a cellular level and within us all. So it was basically connecting me to that place where all of this information is accessible. And at the same time, just blew my heart chakra wide open. And I'd say probably that one and the particular series of Christ appearances were very much about the heart of compassion. And so in that chapter I talk a lot about cellular memory and what we hold on a cellular level and how we can access the Akashic realm and access these levels of wisdom directly. It's held here. There isn't anything that is not accessible immediately in this moment to each of us right now.
Right. You brought up the Akasha records, and I'm familiar with those, but I'm not sure if our audience is. Can you tell our audience a little bit about the Akashic records and what that is?
Yeah, how I experienced that, and we did a journey about that actually over the weekend.
Did you?
Yeah, it was great. There is a collective level. It literally is a dimension, a place that we can all travel to, where everything that existed, exists now, and shall exist, is imprinted. Now, in that instant moment of creation, everything is there.
That's right.
It just unfolds, but it's all there, just like when the fetus is developing in utero. You know, the original cell, that first cell, holds everything that is to come for that life. So the same in our experience, everything that was and is and shall be is already imprinted on that level. And we have access to that level. And when we go to that level, it's literally like opening up, I call it a neon, sparkly book.
Oh, I was going to say I'd be there all day. I wouldn't be
It's
able
like a
to
library, a great library, where you can go and access any and everything. It is there. So any question asked has an answer about past, present, or future, and the existence and all of natural law and universal law exists there. It is held like a collective. It is a band and a strand of collective knowledge and knowingness that literally exists and is accessible.
Now, you know, it seems like some of us are more willing to go there and want to go there more and learn everything we can learn about what, you know, what is there, what exists. But there are some people that really don't want to go there. What do you think that is? I mean, do you get people resisting? You know, like, I know I can, just by sitting here visiting with you, I know you and I are a lot alike, that we have to learn. We have to just know, you know, we have to read books, we have to experience life and be out there. In fact, part of that might be how you got your name, Wind, right?
That was actually given to me by.
Really?
I'll tell you that one.
Oh, I'd like to hear that about.
Chapter in the book.
And I'd like to hear that about your name, and the reason it brought me to that is because in Feng Shui, the southeast is a Sun. It's a trigram, and I won't go there. I won't get into all that. But I happen to be a Sun, and it's the wind, the traveler, the one that, you know, wants to experience life, the kind of artist, that type. Anyway, I was going to say, your name, I resonate with your name so much. I wondered how you got your name.
The story.
Yeah, can we go there now?
All right, we'll do the story. Well, I wanted to answer your question about why some folks might not want to go.
Right, okay, I'm glad you
Makes me
remember
think
the
of
question.
the weekend, because you talked about all these things. What I really feel that to be ultimately is that to travel interdimensionally, to travel beyond this plane at all, requires a dissolution of self, as in any mystic state, transcendent state. There's a dissolution of mind and heart and body. And it's a very frightening thing initially, to get to that place where everything you know and all of who you imagine you are dissolves. And it's very similar to the psychotic state, which often get confused. But they're very close because there's a dissolution of self in that moment. And in order to travel, it's like one needs to be able to step out of the plane, and that's without a parachute. And it's a very frightening thing for some folks. So they will go to a point of comfort, but I think that fear arises.
Definitely the fear.
And pulls us back.
And then just, you know, it's like anything else, riding a bike. You've got to do it once, and then you know you can do it. So that's the big step right there. Once you've done it, then you trust and you know you can do it.
And I think a frightening thing too often is when we use certain substances and medicines that I think are very valuable when used properly, or when we may not be in a very stable place in our life and we go to travel. When you travel interdimensionally, it blows everything away. And you have to be able to come back to a very solid landing pad. Because when you go out there and then you come back, if what you return to is not solid, it's just very frightening and can be very destructive. So you have to be, in a sense, you have to build a strong ego to let it go. You have to develop a strong self in order to be able to have it dissolve. So often, you know, folks think, I want to bypass the whole personal level. I just want to go there. And they do dissolve away, and it's very difficult to reintegrate and to come back, you know, and to be able to move in and out of those realms and remain intact in the process.
I guess I was thinking about how do you, physically you must have to work and prepare. Well, I know we all, you know, are supposed to work. Our bodies are quite the mean machines, these complex systems, and we're supposed to take good care of them. What would you tell somebody to work on maybe first to get their body ready for the trip? Because it needs to be there too, right? I mean,
I think that's a hard question because, as you know, we're all different elements. We all need different foods, different lifestyles to be whole. So I would say that to discover what that is for you individually. You look at life, we live very stressed, very fast-paced life, so ahead of time I would say spend a lot of time in silence.
Working on that
Eat
stress.
well, get plenty of sleep, spend a lot of time in silence.
stress relief.
Brush your teeth.
Like part of what you do, massage therapy is a great thing for stress relief.
It's very wonderful.
Yeah.
Do those things,
Uh-huh.
do those things that keep your body, mind, and soul in balance. And very seriously speaking, have fun, laugh, have a good time, because it's so healing and
Yeah,
it keeps us whole.
Laughing and having joy in your life is probably one of the
It's
one
a
of
very
the
healthy,
healthiest
healing
things
thing.
for our body.
Yeah, so don't take it all so seriously.
That's right.
We're
That's very
talking,
good.
important and serious are two different things. I think we confuse them. If it's important, it's got to be serious, and we're tense and we're uptight. And we need to have a good time while we're here, and we're here to experience that joy, even when we're doing important, serious things.
I know. I was watching a show on TV, and it's funny because sometimes movies will bring this out in you, the tears of joy, And there's nothing like that. I love that when you reach that point and the tears are coming down, but it's joy, it's not sad, And so that's like a miracle to me. One of the many miracles of life, when you can cry and be so happy that you're crying. But that releasing is so important.
Yeah.
So you probably do a lot of work with people, helping them release. Let's talk about that a little bit. Paul, do you want to? Both of you are so good looking. It's so nice to have two very good looking people on the show. All you have to do is sit here and smile, and everybody would be happy. But anyway, I know you're both really intelligent too. So let's pick on Paul a little bit.
All right.
Because I know you do all kinds of things, Paul, up there for people as far as releasing and helping people to release and relax and get out of the stress world.
That's really a key ingredient to creating an experience for folks at Starhaven, because the landscape is very serene and open, and it really allows an intimate space, and there's pockets of sacredness and seclusion where you can just go and be and sit by the creek or hide under a tree or in a bush or whatever, and think about what's going on and how it applies to you, and be able to move to a space of understanding, and if no understanding comes, there's always folks there to help bring that piece of enlightenment to you, whether it's at that moment or not. Hopefully you find the venue quickly. The folks that come and teach for Starhaven really create a chance for you to grow and release a lot of blocks, whether it has to do with working with your spirit guides, being able to be more in touch with yourselves, being able to touch base with the God within, or whatever. It's an amazing experience when everything comes together.
Yeah, well, you made me think of when we started talking about peace and relaxation and things. I thought right away, that's why I looked at Paul too, because I've been up to Starhaven. I did say that earlier, but you can hike in between, while you're taking a break during the workshops and things. They've got areas where you can hike, and the brook going through there. And Paul, one thing about Paul, I've had a chance to talk with him and visit with him a little bit, but I think your vision for what Starhaven is like continually becoming, has a lot to do with that. You're trying to use the land in every way that you can for the people that come there to relax and have a good time and learn at the same time. You've been at it for a while now, I know. Do you have a different workshop every weekend?
No, my sanity won't allow that. But we try to create something about every other week or 3 weeks or so. We're really learning how to facilitate a full experience, and we're not seriously adept at it outside of being able to keep the teachers happy and the participants happy. And I guess part of it, keeping our sanity together, is what we're working on.
And it's a big learning process, huh?
Oh, it's a fabulous learning process. I mean, I was sitting here listening to both of you talk about manifestation and soul purpose, and I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what I've been working with for years now, because it's not just me that's manifesting this. This is Kristen and our other partner, Adam, and we're pulling together all our resources and creating a group manifestation, And at times we're just like, this isn't ours. This is totally Spirit's, or this is about the community and anyone who wants to come and enjoy the space. And we don't feel as if we own it. We're really just facilitating the space for folks to come and be at peace with themselves and get away from their everyday reality, because the everyday reality is our drama in our faces, and we can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah, it is nice to have that group working for something together, though. And I was thinking, if we put in our dues, that's kind of what it's about, just working at it selflessly, what we want to do, but knowing that it is a bigger purpose, out there more than just our own single purpose. Then I think the fruition comes to us sooner or later. I believe that, and there's many ways to get there quicker by taking a workshop like like Wynn's, where she can help you with that manifestation and everything.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was going to say, Keith, you're going to have Keith Sherwood up there. He's author of Balancing Your Chakras, isn't it? And then Spiritual Healing, is it? The Art of Spiritual Healing. He's written 2 books. What kind of a workshop is he going to be having up there for you?
He's going to teach a one-day workshop where chakra balancing is taught, and working a little bit with the Akashic records, and really focusing on empowering the self and being able to do it yourself. He's also going to have a day or 2 of personal sessions, and specifically, I'm kind of out of touch with what he's going to do outside of chakra balancing and working with the Akashic records. I understand Kristen is the one who's really been working in depth with Keith, and
Getting
and I know that he's very looking forward to working at Starhaven. He's been working with this for about 2-3 months now.
planning for this, huh?
Yeah, and I'm real excited to meet Keith and experience what he has to teach, because I know that he's a nationally recognized person when it comes to chakra balancing and healing, and I'm very, very excited.
Well, and you should be, because I've gotten to meet him, and we've had him there at the Feng Shui Center. In fact, he's going to be back here in April. This show probably will air after he's here, though, so we won't talk about that so much. But Keith is one that really helps you get in touch with Creator inside, and find that spot and really work with how that feels, and try to let everything else kind of go so that you can learn what that is to connect, And so you'll enjoy, he's been working at this for years and years, and he's put a lot of things aside, knowing that each step he gets a little bit closer, I think, and helping people get a little bit closer to what that really feels like, connecting with Spirit. So I think you'll really enjoy him. Yeah, well, let's just take a little break here. We've got some entertainment planned for the break, and so then we'll be back and we'll talk about many more things. Okay?
Great.
It's great having you here.
Thanks.
Wind and Paul.
Thanks.
Is that all right? Okay, because I'll introduce you guys again, because I don't think I said Wind Hughes even, maybe.
Okay.
But I'll introduce you again, and then we'll remind the audience that we were going to talk about where your name came from.
Okay.
Okay, that'll be perfect.
I'm Joan
Okay,
now. I
we'll
just
relax.
moved down here.
What else do you think we want to go into? Do all the thanking with Rainbow's End and all that kind of stuff, David, when we come back?
Yeah, Rainbow's End. Who else do we need to plug?
MCAT and my
MCAT.
producers, and we'll talk about Thursdays at the Feng
Frank's-
Shui Center and palm readings on
Frank's Screaming Palmistry.
Yep, famous
Iridology.
palmistry and
Frank's
iridology on
screaming
Saturday.
palmistry.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do our quick thank yous, and then we'll get back.
Randy Kerman with the live audience.
You look really good on there.
What I'll do is I'll pull this camera over here once you get on. Okay? Hang on just a minute.
Has there ever been a signer that stutters?
Huh?
He doesn't want to know about that.
Why you signed?
He's cute. Does he travel with you all the time?
Whenever you can.
When he can?
Yeah.
Are you guys boyfriend girl? Yeah.
Quick switches here, okay?
Sorry, he's taken.
To
He's taking
Hey,
it.
it'd be kind of, I mean, you know, you think
Everyone
that
asks
the roles
me.
would be reversed, though. Like, isn't it the guy that usually wants the woman to be quiet?
Yeah. Well, she follows him around.
Shut up, Paul.
Now, we're getting all this on film.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
Is it time to tell jokes?
We're in a good mood tonight, anyway, I can tell. I think it's still...
It's the backdrop.
It's still...
That's it.
I know I'm still being affected by the full moon.
Yeah.
I always am, about 2 days before and 2 days afterwards.
Good, all right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Intense.
Yep.
Okay, Frank, going on?
Hi, I'm Johnna, and I'd like to welcome everybody back after the break. I hope you enjoyed our entertainment. And we're here tonight with Voices on the Wind, and we hope you join us every Sunday night for Voices on the Wind. Tonight I have some special guests with me. In fact, one of them is named Wind Hughes and Paul Weiss, and we're going to do some more talking. And don't let me forget to have you tell us about where you got that name, too,
Okay.
and how that, okay. But for right now, I need to take a little bit of time out to thank everybody responsible for the show. I'd like to thank MCAT for letting us come down and use the facilities. And I'd like to thank Rainbow's End for the pretty backdrops that they let us use each time we film. And I'd like to thank my producers, David and Frank. They work so hard, many, many hours behind, you know, just to get one show taped. They spend many, many hours doing that and editing and everything. And I'd like to tell everybody on Tuesdays and Saturdays at the Feng Shui Center, we have free palm reading and iridology, and you really need to come down and take advantage of that, because David and Frank do a wonderful job with that. And then every day there at the Feng Shui Center we have a different reader. So come on and enjoy some of the fun. And Thursdays we have a free lecture, which is an informative lecture about many different subjects. Keith Sherwood is going to be this coming Thursday, so be sure and try to catch him. Well, let's get back to our guests. And before I forget, Wind, will you tell us a little bit about where that name came from?
Yeah, I will. But before I say that, I'd like to say...
Oh, we were going to talk, you're right, we were going to mention an event, and you were
Yeah.
going to have a friend come up.
Yeah,
Okay.
that actually wasn't even what I remembered.
It wasn't?
But okay, but we're on track.
Okay, we are. Roll the cameras back 3 notches, and we'll do with what you had just thought about. What did you
Let me
just think
remember what
about?
it was. Oh, shh. We're kind of...
Leave it in.
Happens to me sometimes.
Wait a minute, you were talking... Oh, I was just going to plug Palmer Street.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I
'cause
was
you
just-
got a palm reading.
Yeah, I was
didn't
just
you?
going to plug you guys.
That's
So do
perfect.
you want to like introduce me again, or how you want to, where you want to pick up?
Oh, no, we're
haven't
going to leave
stopped.
that in there.
Oh, just go? Okay. So I really want to just say that I had my palm read
On the break,
by
didn't
Frank
you?
and David, and it was the best reading I've ever had. It was great, and it was thorough, and so I want to support what you just said. Go on down and have these guys read your palm. It'll probably be the best reading you've ever had.
Yeah, and you just experienced their short version, so they
Ah.
actually spend quite a bit of time with each individual person, so it is wonderful. So take advantage of that, okay?
And it's amazing the value of something like that. So simple can really be so informative and comprehensive of the moment, you know. And to have somebody who knows what they're doing is excellent.
No,
Very impeccable.
yeah, no kidding. We talked about earlier our sole purpose. I think David and Frank could probably tell us a little bit about what our sole purpose is right here on our hands. So be sure and come in for the palm readings, okay, you guys? All right, let's have your friend Rick come up, because we wanted him to sign to the audience, those that are deaf and hearing impaired.
I can tell a little bit about it.
Let's have you start off by telling about the workshop
Okay.
itself.
We have, I got involved with the deaf and hearing impaired community in this past year.
Uh-huh.
And it's a very large community, and it's amazing when you get involved with a community like that to realize how inaccessible something like this show is, unless you have closed captions. I don't know if you do.
Something we better work on.
Yeah,
huh?
I mean, they are a wonderful group of people who really want access to spiritual information and workshops and events like this, and are very lonely. in a sense, because no one is really reaching out to them. So we've begun to have signers at certain events. The Prophets Conference that travels around the world periodically has signers, interpreters. And I've begun to offer with my co-facilitator, Rick, events like this. So we have one coming up in Taos that's a session for young adults and a session for adults. It's called Spirit Quest Retreat. And it's basically a week-long typical spiritual retreat where people can come and explore these traditions and go on a quest. So I'd like to have Rick sign some of that information for folks that might be watching.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
That's great. So he's teaching you, and you've learned how to sign also somewhat?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's been an incredible teaching, too. I shared this weekend about the idea of silence. We were talking about silence and the difference between outer silence and inner silence. And Rick's been a wonderful teacher in that way.
You know, just recently I've been using this line because I enjoyed it when I read it somewhere, and it was, don't miss the opportunity to take advantage, no, don't miss the opportunity to keep your mouth shut. I got the line right. But somehow that just resonated with me, you know, because listening's so important, and we forget sometimes that it's just nice to listen sometimes. Well, now, will you tell me about where that name came from? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of the chapters that'll be in my the new book that I'm working on. And it's an experience that I had, that I've had the core experience many, many times. When I, what I call journeying or travel interdimensionally, sometimes coming back, coming down, as I call it, can be very, very difficult. And this particular time, for whatever reason, was extremely difficult. And
How long ago was that? Like, how long have you been?
wind.
You know?
This experience was probably about 12 years ago, though I didn't take the name on in daily living till about 8 years ago. But this one particular time I was out, and in that particular place I was just in ecstasy, you know, absolute ecstasy. And
Didn't want to come back?
oh, no, didn't want to come back at all. And I call it torquing down. There's this sensation where out there in those dimensions, you know, existence is looser, lighter. And when you come down, there's literally the sound that, for me at least, accompanies my return to the body. And it's this light, airy sound, and it goes, whoo, like that, like back into this dense form. And so I was preparing for this, in a sense, and I was coming back. And the teachers that I was meeting with this particular time, I remembered saying to them, I can't go back to the separateness. I just can't go back to the separateness. This is too painful. And, you know, they basically laughed. I was like, oh, you have to go back. And, but they gave me two gifts, and they represented some of the teachings that they had shared with me. And one was, every breath is but 1,000-fold, which represented to me, in a sense, the universes of time go by in one breath of the cosmos, and that we have, you know, millions of those universes in one breath of the cosmos. So every breath is but 1,000-fold. And the other one was, the wind, she speaks my name. And it was to remind me, and it was given to me as my name, wind. But also that whenever I heard the wind spoke the words of spirit. And that I was not alone. And, you know, it was an illusion to think I was alone. And so whenever I would feel the wind or hear the wind, I would be hearing the words of God, the words of spirit. But that was my given name then, from that point on. And I used that name in ceremony for many years, but about 8 years ago was told that I needed to embody that in a different way and to use it as my name.
Well, that's a beautiful story, and that the wind is also significant of moving and traveling too, and penetrating.
Huh.
So that seems to fit with you really well too. You're traveling and sharing your knowledge, and then like in Feng Shui, the F-E-N-G, Feng, is actually wind. It's a very important element of moving qi around, moving the energy around the earth. So,
Great, thanks.
yeah, so I've always really liked that. It's nice name.
And wind is a lot shorter than the wind she speaks my name. It's hard to say what's your name. The wind she speaks my name. I shortened it. Wind is my nickname.
Well, earlier on the break, you made me think we were talking about different indigenous tribes around the world, and you wanted to share something about that.
Yeah, I think we hear a lot now about indigenous cultures, and as we're moving into this next cycle, the coming times and the prophesized times, you know, it's very much the elders of indigenous cultures that have held these wisdoms for us, and are leading us, you know, back to our source and back to the wisdom that we need to usher us through these coming times. But I think what happens often is we associate the word indigenous with peoples of color. And when we say native peoples, we think of peoples of black skin or red skin, or and there's this whole white European world that's sort of left out of the picture. And I like to share a lot in what I teach that the word indigenous means of origin of place, and that every one of us has a place of origin. Every one of us is rooted to the earth and rooted to life as we come into this form. And so every one of us is of an indigenous culture. And there's a wisdom in that culture, and a wisdom that we hold not only on a cellular level from our origin of place, wherever, however far away or long ago that was, but that wisdom is also held in the earth that we stand on. So we not only have the indigenous wisdom of our original culture, whatever that might have been, we also tap into the collective indigenous wisdom of the land and of the earth. And what happens to be here is the indigenous wisdom that the trees hold and the air holds and the plants hold of Native American people. And it's very difficult sometimes when white folks come along and tap into that and are very confused about, you know, do they follow that path or do they go back to their own path? So and there's no answer to that. But just for people to realize that every one of us holds that indigenous wisdom, whether we're Italian, Polish, Irish, Native American, South American, that indigenous does not pertain to people of color. It pertains to our origin of place. And on a larger level, origin of place here is earth. And then origin of place is spirit. So indigenous has a much larger meaning than how people actually use that.
I like that. And when you were saying, you know, the young people today especially, because America is kind of a melting pot, you know, they're looking for direction, they feel these things because, like you said, we do have the collective knowledge that's there, and it's I don't know if this seems like it to you, but to me it seems like it's easier to tap into that now. I mean, there's a higher vibration, Earth's vibration is lifting, and it seems like it's a time when people are becoming more aware. And then we have like the indigo children that are being born that they talk about with even more DNA. It's a scientific fact that children are coming into this world with more strands of DNA than has been seen in the past, and people are changing. But I was going to say, like I tell my son, if I was gone tomorrow, you know, and I had to leave this world, and I'd leave him with like the knowledge to listen to himself, you know, and to his heart, and really be true to himself, because I think that's so important. And that just, to me, resonates with what you said, that young children, other people, you know, when we get a feeling of spirit, it comes to us, what do you do with it? Where do you go? But I think it's nice to have everybody, I mean, all the different, what am I saying here, but that we're accepted for tapping into the knowledge as if it's there for all of us.
Yeah. And it's prophesized. You know, there are many cultures that prophesies the coming together of various peoples, and even our own indigenous to this piece of earth. Hopi prophecy prophesizes the coming together of all the directions of the medicine wheel, and representing the yellow people, the red people, the black people, and the white people, that we will all come together at this time to bring forth that wisdom and that teaching and to usher in this time. And so it's our responsibility as human beings here now to be true to ourselves and to
be a part of that.
Yeah, to be a part of it.
And accept everybody else's part in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exciting, too. I mean, that's the exciting thing about being around right now. What was it, January 21st or something like that, marked the end of the Kalaluga period that they talk about, a 26,000-year cycle or something, because we know life goes in cycles.
Yeah.
And now we're on the second half of that trip going upward, where we've been coming down to kind of a
It's a good thing.
through
It's
the
been a
dark
long
ages.
ride.
I know, it's been a long ride. When you think that everything was still beautiful, we had Earth and everything, but now we've got everything's still there, it's beautiful, now we can work together, realizing that and being aware of that it's there for us. I mean, I think that's so important to help each other be aware.
It's one of the things I love about what these guys are doing at Starhaven is they're bringing people from so many paths. No, there's no judgment,
Together.
there's no value. It's everyone coming together. And in a sense, Starhaven's a meeting point for that, and providing the opportunity for all of us to come together.
That's so true. And Paul, I'd like to talk a little bit more about this summer solstice celebration / Paul's birthday celebration.
Oh.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, obviously I was playing more of a celebration than just summer solstice.
Well, I saw on your sheet here that you've got a 2-day workshop, probably among other things, but it's called Merging Dreams with Reality. What's that going to be about?
Wen would be able to talk more about that, because that's really her specialty, and it's more than what we just did this weekend. It's more
So
than
you're
just
going to be the
couple-
facilitator of that one?
I'll
Of
be
that?
facilitating that with a co-facilitator, a wonderful guy named Michael Abrams, who's author of a wonderful book called Evolution Angel. And he will be coming down and doing that weekend with me. He's also the guy I mentioned who's in the band for the solstice celebration, along with Les Kahn.
And we
who's our
have Les in
guitarist.
our audience.
Les is in our audience.
He's in the band, the guitar player in the band. So I'm going to have to come up to that celebration.
It's going to be great.
You've been working on the stage, Les tells me?
Yes, Les and I have been conspiring on how to make such an excellent little venue for all kinds of events, from bands to weddings and speakers and workshops outdoors on our stage. And the stage is an octagon, and it really creates a space all to itself. It's different than the square. You know how an octagon is in Feng Shui. It just creates a totally different environment when you're operating in that shape. And by about May 1st, I should have all the construction done, and then roll around summer solstice. Les promised me that I'd have all my equipment set up and my lights would be set up. And
It's nice to have somebody else to blame all that on, isn't it? When it doesn't happen, I mean, but it'll happen. I trust Les will make it happen.
Yeah, he's...
And you.
Thanks. I trust myself too. I have to. And because we've created this stage, which is essentially the vision of our third partner, Adam, he really had a great idea there. We have concerts planned. We have workshops planned for the stage, and we are very open to having folks come and do their own stuff there. We obviously are putting on our own events. We really want to make it accessible to anyone who feels they could use a space like that.
Well, it's all outdoors then.
It's like an amphitheater.
Enjoy the outdoors while you're listening to music. There's nothing better than that. I love that.
Oh, it's really nice. We've got Sleeping Child Creek behind the stage with some cottonwoods, and some of the sapphires are right there. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful venue. I'm very ecstatic with how it's turned out.
If I come, can I bring my guitar?
Rock and roll sister, we'll put you up there.
I used to be a rock and roll singer in a band, yeah. Great. Well, you could be one of the acts. Okay. I'll work on that, you guys.
Should I book you?
I'll call you.
Thanks.
We won't talk about that anymore right now, but Oh, this is fun having you guys here, though. I want to ask our audience before we take off tonight and say goodnight to everybody. We've got a live audience tonight, and we plan to do this every Sunday night at MCAT. We're going to invite people so that we can get an awareness in the community to come down, and they get to listen to the whoever's here. You know, we have special guests, and so tonight, how would Matthew? Do you have a question for us by any chance? Because we have Paul and Wind here, and we really need to take advantage of their expertise.
I'm new to Missoula.
You're
Tell us
new?
how to get to your place.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
good
yeah, that's
question.
an obvious question,
And Paul,
duh.
can you give them your phone number too, in case they want to call ahead of time and find out how to get there?
Sure. Information on Star Haven is we are south of Hamilton, about off of Skalkaho Highway. It takes about an hour to get there from MCAT. How should I put this? The easiest way to get to us is just take 93 south and Skalkaho and the Sleeping Child. We have a website, starhaven.org. We have a phone number too, believe it or not. That number is 363-6675. Kristen, who is the office manager and director,
And lovely wife of Paul.
she just keeps the family together, she keeps business together, and I can't ask for more. She's just too good. She will be answering the phone and returning calls. She's really, really knowledgeable on what we're doing. She has a lot of knowledge of what we talked about tonight. She's very, she's
She's
just
a
very
real
good.
people person, isn't
Yeah,
she?
she's a very great people person.
Yeah, I love her.
She really makes me look good.
Oh, Paul, that's part of her job, you know. She's good with getting the word out too, and
Yes, she is.
getting
Yes, she
people
is.
involved.
And I'd like to throw in that you can see the description, sort of the interim description of what we'll be doing on the solstice and what the workshop will be on the website.
Oh, good.
So until they get their catalog out, which list is that, you can go ahead and get a preview of it at windhughes.com, www.windhughes.com. Just go under schedule of events and you'll see where I will be, and you'll see the description for the events at Star Haven.
Well, and when do you find time to update your website? I mean, I've been working at that for a while, and I just updated mine the other day, but after about 3 months, you know.
It's sure.
It is. It takes a lot of time to get in there and do that. I don't know how you have time
It's hard. It's really hard. It's not always updated promptly.
with everything that you're doing. Is there anything you'd like to tell our audience about before we sign off here tonight? Can you think of anything that...
Well, one thing I'd like to say is that I really appreciate what you're doing. I really value the show and, you know, the importance of having a forum for these kind of discussions that are accessible to communities and people. And it's essential that we talk about these things, because another thing I like to say is, you know, we're all waiting for those teachers and those light workers and the people to come who are going to usher in this time, and there's nobody coming. We're the ones we're waiting for. And so this, to me, is the opportunity for all of us to speak our truth.
And open up to
And
it.
to open up, and we're the ones that have to take responsibility for the transformation that's happening. And so I really appreciate your part in what you're doing with this show, and what these guys are doing at Star Haven, and
Well,
it's important to be involved.
you, right off the bat, I appreciated your spunkiness, because, you know, that's what it takes too, is to just be brave enough to tell everybody what it's about and what you're about.
Thanks.
And not be afraid, because there are a lot of people, you know, that we're still at that judgment, you know, we want it not to be there, but people still do judge, and sometimes they judge when they're not quite clear on what things are about, so there's a fear-based judgment there, kind of. So I just like to welcome people to try to have an open mind when they listen at the show, because we do have different guests, you know, that speak differently about some things. Maybe they've never heard about certain things. When I go to a Feng Shui conference, all the different instructors will get up in front of everybody and say, you're going to hear about Feng Shui in many different ways, you know. Sometimes it might seem a little off. There might be conflicting views out there. But the best thing to do is listen with an open mind and take it in, and then burn down what you hear, you know, what you learn, and see what grows up from the ashes. And I think, wouldn't you agree with that too, that people are going to learn from different teachers. You don't have to resonate with everything you hear, but it's just wonderful to leave that open mind so that you're not going to miss out on all those wonderful opportunities to learn.
And it may be that, you know, folks might hear what we're saying tonight and say, none of it resonates. And folks might listen and there may be one piece. Take that one piece, let go of the rest.
That's
And,
right.
you know, it's not essential to take everything or the whole. And you know in your heart when something resonates with your truth. And we all experience the manifestation of truth in our own way, because that's what our soul purpose requires, that we take the piece that pertains to us. And I can't take your piece. It's useless to me.
Right.
So to just take what's ours and use that and let the rest go.
And move forward with it. And one thing we know is change is constant.
The only thing that doesn't change.
Right. Scientists know that too. So I'm willing to go with the change, and I'm excited about the things that are happening on this earth right now, and I hope everybody else is. And you'll open up to people like Paul that has Star Haven. It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
And Wind from Taos, right? All the way from Taos. It's nice that you're up sharing your knowledge with people.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here. Good night, everybody, and stay tuned next week. Thanks for being here, audience. Where's the chairs? Don't we provide chairs for you?
Don't I get roses?
Yeah.
Yes.
How thoughtless of us.
We're going to have to set up chairs sometime for everybody so Matthew doesn't have to sit on the floor.
I prefer it, actually. I can stretch. I can stretch.
And poor Michelle doesn't have to sit on the floor.
Oh, he said, get my eye. How close do you have to be?
You can zoom in pretty
You
good,
can get all the details
I can see
with
her
this
nose.
camera.
Look at that nose.
Look up.
It's funky.
So do you want me to look right into the lens?
Yeah, look right here.
I'm really going to hold my...
I know.
Clear now.
It's going to be in the Inquirer next week.
Well, I'm thinking about the years of probably 18 to 26.
Or actually, 27 to 30 were probably the ones I don't want to look.
That they'll find in your palm more, but with iridology, Frank does an excellent job. It's all about like your organs and,
Yeah.
and things like that.
No formaldehyde needed.
Hey, no meat.
It's not your best pickup.
There's no rotten toxins in my stomach.
I got a girlfriend in the audience, I don't pick things. I let it down,
Anybody
but
you did say you're very well preserved.
I know, I was going to say that line. That line. Are you sure you were talking about her eyes, David?
by the way, that one has worked.
It wouldn't work on me. Jeez. Hi, my name is David. You're very well preserved. Okay, tell me when to look.
Too funny.
Hit just right with the light, Frank.
Yeah, that's good. You can see it? So I can't look to see.
I'm not pulling up her damn eyelid, Frank.
Don't need to pull up my eyelid. I don't mind, I'm not shy. You didn't tell me I was going to have to go through all this.
Yeah, it is a good thing to know acupuncture.
Right.
They'll have you sticking out your tongue.
So now what are we doing? This side? Do you want me to lift the eyelid?
No, that's all
Okay.
right.
Thank you.
This is purely for scientific.
It's diagnostic
We'll be
purposes.
showing your eyes at the beginning of every show.
Your camera's not on that eye.
Yeah, it's on the only on the other eye.
Okay.
Do you want me to hold that flashlight for you, David?
No, I got it.
Okay.
And he's got two hands into his light.
Yeah, there. Yeah, when you do hold the flashlight,
can
you
see
really
it?
can see it better.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Of course, you won't be seeing anything for about 5 minutes.
Frank, that's all I'm asking our guests to do.
Okay. Do you do this with every guest?
I've never had them do that close up, but
Oh,
they
do I?
have done it after the show. They get close up.
And
So
look.
yeah. Thank you very much. That was an extra.
That's right. You're really all CIA agents, aren't you?
Okay.
Oh, they already have that info.
I know, I'm sure they do.
Thanks, you guys.
You're welcome.
So much.
Oh,
And
my pleasure.
I think we got the word out there for
That's
several
great.
good events. So
You're
that'll-
great at this too, you keep it really lively and light.
It is fun to just joke around and have fun. And then Frank can edit, you know, and he does edit the ones where I get really off and tongue-tied and stuff like that. Thank God for Frank to edit me.
Yeah, I love listening to you.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is the,
Now go, you just give me a take.
okay, I'm Chrisana Duran, and this is the first issue of the new Earth Weather Report. I'm using, what I have here is a world map that has been adjusted to show the Great Pyramid at the center here, and we've superimposed the glyph from the Mayan calendar, the Dresden Codex of the Mayan calendar, over the world map. And the name of this glyph is Earth. Down here we have the South Pacific. Up here we have the North Atlantic. And I believe that these markings show the points of stress in the Earth changes that we're experiencing now. What this weather report is a different kind of weather report. What I'm reporting are cosmic energies which create the actual weather that we experience on the planet. So it conceives of the Earth as a part of the body of the solar system that is affected with cosmic and space storms. I have a copy of the Scientific American for April that has a special issue or a really good feature article on space storms. It deals specifically with a solar storm that happened on November 8, 2000, which the Time Star actually predicted. I predicted that date, published that date at the end of October. It was one of the biggest space storms that has ever happened, or in decades. Then on April 2nd, last week, we had probably the largest solar flare that's ever erupted. It was so enormous that the light from the solar flare blocked out, shut down the satellite sensors. So it took quite a while, or several days, which is quite a while for satellite readings. It took several days to determine that it was a Class X 22 solar flare. And as I said, that's the largest solar flare that's ever been recorded. If you'll get this Scientific American and turn to the article, The Fury of Space Storms, it's on page 86. It'll discuss how the solar environment directly and radically affects our environment. We had the very, very large solar flare on April 2nd, and on April 3rd, a underwater volcano began erupting off the coast of Oregon. Now I've marked the location of that volcano, not because the volcano happened there, but because I identified this location about 5 years ago and published an article that predicted activity in this area. If you notice this red triangle here, can you get a shot of that red triangle? The extreme point down here is Teotihuacan, which are it's the oldest pyramid center in Native America. And I believe it was 1996, a crop circle was made at Butte, Nebraska, which is on an exact north-south alignment with the pyramids at Teotihuacan. So I projected a Pythagorean triangle, which is a 3-4-5 triangle, and I identified this point right out here in the Pacific Ocean. and which is on what we call the Juan de Fuca tectonic plate, and the volcanic eruption that began after the solar flare on April 2nd is right out here, right on the tip of that triangle. Now, you'll also notice that all of the black markings that are superimposed on this map are part of the earth glyph from the Mayan calendar. And these squiggles right in here are actually a part of the glyph. And it is right in here that we have the Mendocino Junction. The Mendocino Junction is considered a geological nightmare because a number of large fault lines and tectonic plates all converge right here. And this is exactly where the underwater volcano began erupting on April 3rd, following the April 2nd solar flare. I downloaded the graph for that chart. Can you get that, a picture of that? This is produced by NOAA, which is the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric group, who watches these types of events. And you'll see right here is the April 2nd solar flare. Now, the way these solar flares are organized, it measures the X-ray band, or it measures the amount of eruption that is in the X-ray band of the electromagnetic spectrum. And you'll see we have A is here. It goes A, B, C, M, and X. And within each category, there are 10 levels of intensity. So it would be like A 1 through 10, B 1 through 10. And up here we have the class X solar flares, and it's X 1 through 10. As you can see, that particular solar flare went off the X-ray band, off the class X level of the X-ray band, and it stopped at right around about X4. But it stopped there only because it was so enormous it shut down the satellite sensors. It was actually, if the satellites had been able to completely measure the X-ray emissions in this solar flare, it would have been right about, get a good shot here, it would have been right about up here where my little finger is. It would have, because this is the equivalent, so we go X1, X10, and then the next band that isn't named goes from 1 to 10, but this went even further than that. It went to the equivalent of a 2 up here. So, if you've been feeling a little tired, you're having trouble sleeping, insomnia is common when you have high levels of solar flares. If your membranes, if you've been feeling thirsty, your nose has been dry, what it is these solar flares. And we're being hit with very high levels of cosmic fire right now. The remedy for fire is water. Long baths with Epsom salts would be good. A lot of salt is good because it holds the water. The other thing that you might like to try is essential oils. Lavender essential oil would be real good because it is a general stress reducer. You want blues, the color blue is real good to wear when you're having an abundance of cosmic fire because it reflects water. In the Feng Shui system, water, the color for water are blue and black. So blues, blacks, and real water, and long sitz baths, at least 20 minutes in the bathtub with Epsom salts and some lavender might be beneficial for you. Now, for this coming month, see, today is April 8th. We have a full moon April 8th, so you can expect an increase in earthquakes in the next 7 days. Where you're probably looking at in the time star system, where we're looking at major earthquakes, it's down here in the South Pacific, which also happens to be one of the stress points that's indicated with the earth glyph. Down here around New Zealand, Australia, and also up here in the equatorial Pacific, and this area over here, which is the west coast of the Americas. This is off the coast of Oregon, then we go all the way down here to Mexico, is very, very active. Where we'll probably see an increased level of earthquakes when this cycle is complete, which will be on April 27th. After the 27th, you're going to see an increase of activity in Africa and the Mediterranean. Now, this is the Great Pyramid in Egypt right here. All through here is the Mediterranean. Mount Vesuvius and Etna are up here in this area over by Italy. You're probably going to see some volcanic eruptions and an increase of earthquakes in that area. We're going to have to stop because I just lost my microphone. Ah, the whole thing came off. The time star uses 13-day weeks, which correspond with the Mayan calendar, which used 13-day weeks. So your two 13-day weeks that fall in the month of April are from April 2nd through April 14th. That is characterized by the moon glyph. There's an actual glyph in the calendar called moon. And that glyph is centered right out here on the time star down by New Zealand. The second 13-day window will be from April 15th to April 27th. And that is the wind glyph. And that glyph is up here towards the equator, same area of the South Pacific, but towards the equator. After mid-April, as I said, the activity will move over to Africa. And when it does, you're going to see, I believe that it's a very, very good possibility that Mount Vesuvius and Mount Etna will erupt. Their eruptions will increase. Etna is currently active. It's been active for years. But it goes through periods of greater activity, and I think you may be looking at that. In May, the next 13-day window will extend into May. And that may be the point where there is basically a climax of a lot of this activity that's been building up over a period of time. I want to remind you that in 1991 we began to experience very, very, very large levels of cosmic blast, gamma ray blast, which is high frequency radiation in the electromagnetic spectrum. These very, very large blasts of gamma rays began in May and June of 1991, and then on June 11th, 1991, the sixth world that the Maya had prophesized began with the solar eclipse of July 11th, 1991. Since that date, we've had several periods of intense cosmic radiation, cosmic storms, and gamma ray burst. And in 1993, we were just flooded with extraordinary gamma ray burst. And in May, I used to check the gamma ray burst, keep track of that, through a satellite that was deorbited last May. So since last May, I have not been able to get readings easily on the internet of the gamma ray burst. However, I do follow these solar flares. And I believe that the solar flares may be triggered by some of this gamma ray activity. And we're in a period where we've just been doused with this, and we've now had the largest solar flare that's ever been recorded. And I believe that what that indicates is that it's the completion of the sun's poles reversing, which is to say, every 11.5 years, the north and the south poles of the sun reverse. The south becomes north, the north becomes south. And this occurs during a period called the solar maximum. And then once that reversal has occurred, the solar activity slowly declines into what is called the solar minimum. And I believe that these gamma ray, not gamma ray bursts, the solar eruptions, the solar flares from April 2nd, and that will occur this month, will be the end of the solar maximum, which will mean that the north and south poles of the sun have completely reversed, because the reversal of the poles takes a period of months. It begins with big blasts, and this may have been the end of it. If that is true, we will begin to go into a solar minimum that will peak out in about 5 years. We'll hit the low point on that minimum in about 5 to 6 years. If that's true, we're going to see once we begin to enter the solar minimum, extremely large earthquakes are going to begin. Now, can you get a shot of this, Matt? If you're interested in more information on these forecasts, I will be at the Feng Shui Center on April 26th. Put it up there so you can get it. April 26th and May 17th at 12 o'clock. It'll be a free lecture that I give at the Feng Shui Center. Also, if you like this, if you'd like to have more of the new Earth weather reports, call the station at 542-6228 and ask for Frank, and let him know that you like this information and that you'd like to see more of it. And thank you a lot. Bye. So how long was all that?
Introduce yourself, tell us what book you're going to read, we'll set it up a little bit, and do your reading.
Okay, my name is Michelle, and tonight I'm going to do a reading out of Henry Cornelius.
Go ahead and stop. Just go ahead and stop, and then just go ahead and start back over again.
I just got tongue-tied there, excuse me.
So just start from the beginning again.
Okay. Hi, my name is Michelle, and tonight I'm going to do a reading from Henry Cornelius Agrippa's Natural Magic, published in 1898. I also will endeavor to climb up out of the cave into the land flooded with sunlight. I connect all that we see here with Plato's doctrine of superior ideas. I subdue matter to spirit. I will see true knowledge in apparent foolishness and connect the meanest clod with its divine creator. I will seek to draw down influences and to fill my soul with the new strength imparted by the virtue of ideas streaming from above.
If you... Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just quick little technical difficulty. Didn't mean to.
Okay.
So, just go ahead and start the paragraph over. Just go from there. You don't have to do the whole introduction again. Just
Thank you.
Pick up at the. Yeah, just pick up at the paragraph and start again, and keep going.
Or my little partial paragraph here.
Yeah, it's fine. We've got plenty of tape. We can do this more than once, and there's only 2 of us in the room and a little voice in my head. So don't worry about it.
Voices in my head. Okay, never mind. I also will endeavor to climb up out of the cave into the land flooded with sunlight. I connect all that we see here with Plato's doctrine of superior ideas. I subdue matter to spirit. I will see true knowledge and apparent foolishness and connect the meanest clod with its divine creator. I will seek to draw down influences and to fill my soul with a new strength imparted by the virtue of ideas streaming from above. The superior manifest and the inferior is the law of nature manifested in the thing created. My soul is not sufficient for itself. Beyond it and above it lie eternal laws.
Yeah, just if you make a glitch like that, just go ahead and stop and just start again at the beginning of the paragraph. You're doing it's sounding really good the second time. It was really nice. You got it nice and smooth out there. Just pick up again at that same paragraph and
Take 28.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You wouldn't believe how much smoother and nicer just even the second time. Just relax into it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sounding good.
I can't even get the second word out. I also will endeavor to climb up out of the cave into the land flooded with sunlight. I connect all that we see here with Plato's doctrine of superior ideas. I subdue matter into spirit. I will see true knowledge and apparent foolishness.
Can you start again from the beginning?
Yes.
Don't worry. You just take your time. Go ahead and catch your breath with it. Just have fun with it. Take 4.
I also will endeavor to climb up out of the cave into the land flooded with sunlight. I connect all we see here with Plato's doctrine of superior ideas. I subdue matter to spirit. I will see true knowledge and apparent foolishness and connect the meanest clod with its divine creator. I will seek to draw down influences and to fill my soul with the new strength imparted by virtue of ideas streaming from above. The superior manifests and the inferior is the law of nature manifested in the thing created. My soul is not sufficient for itself. Beyond it and above it lie eternal laws, subtle, not having substance or form, yet the cause of form and substance.
Great. Sounded
Okay.
great.
So just a little bit.
Did you want to do it over or do another paragraph as well?
And was that okay?
Yeah, no, that was good. It was
great.
Yeah, if you want, did you want to do another paragraph on the end of that?
I lost my
You're
page.
not going to twist your arm here. If you'd like to.
Once again, I lost my page. Where's the bucket? I guess not, since I lost the page I was on.
Oh, no!
Oh, hold on.
That's good. Okay.
Now I found it, of course, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great job.